So we're here at GDC with Funcom's creative director Ragnar Tornquist here talking about The Secret World. Ragnar, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for talking to me.
Okay, great. So The Secret World is finally a game we can start talking about. It sounds like a really huge game, but if you could just give us a real brief summary of just what the game's about.
Sure. The Secret World takes place in the real world, in the modern day, and it's a game where people basically become heroes fighting the dark things that are sort of rising up, evil that's rising. Dark days are coming, the world is in turmoil, occult energies are sort of all over the place, and people have to sort of stem this tide of darkness that's washing over the world. And they do that by creating heroes, by going out there, fighting together in teams, traveling all over the world, even traveling through time and sort of discovering all these mysteries in the world and fighting all this darkness and evil. Basically having a blast. It's an MMORPG, or what we call an action-adventure MMORPG for the PC and Xbox 360. What we're doing is taking a lot of ancient mythologies, a lot of, history, true history, sort of false history as well, and sort of urban legends and pop culture, and mixing it together with our own backstory to create this really sort of expansive universe, which, yes, it takes place in the real world, around the corner, in the dark alleys, in cities like London, New York, and Seoul. And basically all these places are, places where things are starting to happen, where sort of evil is rising. A lot of people know this contemporary dark fantasy genre where you have vampires, you have demons, you have zombies, and that's basically the kind of setting it is. With The Secret World, we do want to break the mold a little bit. We want to get away from the grind, we want to get away from levels. It's going to be a game without levels, it's going to be a game without classes, it's going to be a skill-based game. And it's also a game where our philosophy is that The Secret World is an MMO that starts where other MMOs end, It's all about empowering the player. It's all about sort of going out and fighting really powerful enemies from day one. It's about, taking part in this sort of huge war between good and evil from the moment you start playing the game. We want people to actually enjoy playing the game. We don't want them to just have to spend, like you said, a couple of 100 hours leveling up your character to level 60 or 70 before you can even take part in it. No, we want you to be able to take part in this game from day one, have fun, join your friends, go out there, learn new powers, explore new locations, do a lot of cool missions. Obviously, playing the game over time, you're going to get a lot more ways to customize and improve and empower your character. So of course there's incentive to playing it for hundreds of hours, but the point is you don't have to. You can just start playing it and join your friends immediately. You'll have the powers you need in order to sort of fight these monsters and do these mysteries and missions. And we're trying to really open the genre up and open the world up to anybody. We're not sort of locking too much content down. The second you start playing the game, you can go out into the world and you can choose what missions you want to play. It's not like you're set on this very sort of linear path from the moment you start playing. You can look any way you want to look. If you want to go out and fight monsters in a tank top and hot pants, you can do that. If you want to wear the cool trench coat and jeans and boots, you can do that. You're not going to have medieval armor to put on, or breastplates, or or helmets and things like that. And you basically, the game is about sort of finding the powers that suits your playing style, and learning and gaining all these new powers, and finding weapons that are the kinds of weapons you want to fight with. You want to fight with a shotgun, you can fight with a shotgun. You can get a really cool shotgun, you can customize it, you can improve it, and then you can go out and shoot zombies. You can get the cool magical occult sword, and you can use that to decapitate vampires. And it's all about, again, sort of the choices you have all the time when you play the game. Sort of, if you're sick of playing that way, you can choose another way. If you're sick of looking this way, you can choose to look another way. If you're sick of this kind of gameplay, you can choose this kind of gameplay. And it's all about variety. That's for me is the spice of it. A lot of games don't have enough of that for me. And it's like I play the character for a long time, I get stuck in the way that character looks and feels and plays, and then you have to go back and start over again. No, it's not about that. It's about, having the ability to basically change as you go along, and then change with the game. Combat is a big element of the game. We're going to have some really cool combat that requires you to basically be, playing all the time. You can't just sit back and click a button. You really have to play it. You have to be reactive. You have to be in the moment. But aside from that, there is going to be missions that bring whole new gameplay elements to the genre. There are mysteries where you have to do more investigation type things. There's sabotage. There's hunts and all those kinds of things that make it more than just fighting monsters. And it's all very story driven. The team has worked on games like Longest Journey and Dreamfall and Anarchy Online, games that are very story driven at the core. And there is a backstory that goes back 100 million years that encompasses civilizations that were here hundreds of thousands of years ago, and that brings it into the present and takes all these sort of different threads and ties it together and gives you a linear story that you want to play through. So even if it's a game that's open, that has a lot of sort of gameplay options at any given time, the story is there for you to enjoy as a sort of a full story with a beginning and a middle and not quite an end, because we are gonna, you know, keep expanding on this universe and making sure it continues for a long time. But there are lots of different stories that spin off from that, which we sort of have conclusions to them. We haven't announced a release date yet, and like in good old tradition, we have a release date internally, of course, but the game, we're not going to release it until it's really, really, really done and feel it's really good, and we feel very comfortable with that.